The B1 Centauro was the basic version of the vehicle, of which 485 were produced. The first 100 vehicles did not have the spaced armor used in Somalia. 20 vehicles have since been upgraded with the application of additional Romor A type armor to make up for the poor protection. The second version was produced with removable additional 15mm armor on the sides of the hull and on the standard turret. This second version encompassed the vehicles from 101 to 250. The third and last version, from 251 to 400, while also having the turret additional armor, was lengthened by 22 cm at the back. This allows the Centauro to transport 4 infantry on folding seats after removing the 2 ammunition racks inside the hull. The B1 Centauro 120mm is a version with a HIT-FACT 1 turret, HIT-FACT standing for Highly Integrated Technology Firing Against Combat Tanks, produced by Leonardo Defense Systems. Prototyped sometime after 2000 but not accepted for service in the Italian army, this turret is armed with an Otto Melara 120-45 cannon and new protection against 40mm armor-piercing rounds. The total amount of ammunition carried is unknown, but a CIO brochure of this wheeled vehicle stated that the turret basket holds 9 120mm rounds instead of the 14 105mm rounds in the normal Centauro. The vehicle was presented at IDX 2003 in Abu Dhabi, the United Arab Emirates, and in the same year, Oman ordered 9 with a 650 horsepower engine. This model helped CIO to develop the B2 Centauro. On 19th October 2016, CIO officially presented the new Centauro 2 MGS 120/105 model, of which 136 will be produced for the Italian army under the name B2 Centauro. The new version features a completely redesigned steel body, specially designed to better resist IED and mine explosions. It has a new 720 horsepower V8 engine and a Cannone Otto Melara 120/45 LRF main gun in a new HIT-FACT 2 turret. In July 2018, a contract was finalized for the acquisition of the first 10 units of the B2 Centauro. In the late 80s, CIO developed a self-propelled howitzer version of the B1 called Pegaso, armed with a FH-70 155/36 cannon without a turret. It was a bit longer and heavier than the standard B1. After the Soviet Union collapsed, the project was abandoned until 2007, when Iveco Fiat and Leonardo Finmeccanica designed a new self-propelled howitzer for the international market. This vehicle is meant to equip Armored Division with a powerful mobile self-propelled gun. A prototype was completed at the end of 2010, mounting a latest generation 155/39 gun based on the German FH-70 howitzer. It can shoot up to a distance of 60 kilometers with a muzzle velocity of 800 meters per second, but it can only carry 8 rounds. The turret has an automatic loader with fully electronic rangefinders and alarms. The commander and the gunner each have a computer at their disposal. The gunner's computer calculates and sets the elevation of the gun to hit the target and gives indication on what type of ammunition should be used to inflict the maximum damage to the target. In 1979, in order to protect mobile units of the Italian army from air attacks, the Sistema Italiano di Difesa Aerea Mobile 25mm, or more simply SIDAM-25 project was born. It entered service in 1987. Developed by Otto Melara, it consists of a turret with a weight of about 3 tons and armed with 4 Oerlikon KBA-BO2 25/80 caliber Oerlikon guns with a firing rate of 2,400 rounds per minute. Each 108 kg cannon has a magazine of 150 rounds for a total of 600 shells ready to use. The Oerlikon cannons can fire semi-armor piercing high explosive incendiary and high explosive incendiary anti-aircraft ammunition, and armor piercing discarding sabot that can destroy lightly armored vehicles such as APCs and IFVs. The maximum range for anti-aircraft fire is 2,500 meters, while the effective range normally drops to about 1,800 meters. The turret has a two-man crew consisting of the commander and the gunner. Otto Melara proposed the turret to the Italian army, mounted on the hull of the M113 APC and the Otto Melara C-13 multi-purpose vehicle. The turret was also presented to the Spanish army, which tested it on an appropriately modified BMR 600 6x6 APC. Otto also presented to the Italian army a study proposing the CDAM-25 turret on the B1 Centauro chassis. This vehicle would have had 3 crewmen and a considerable ammunition supply on board. The weight was reduced to about 21 tons and the speed and range were increased. The Italian army, however, rejected the project together with another one, also proposed by Otto Melara, of a missile self-propelled anti-aircraft version on the B1 Centauro chassis. The vehicle would have been armed with MIM-146A ADATS missiles mounted on a 4-ton turret developed by Oerlikon Contraves, able to sight air targets at a distance of over 24 kilometers. The missiles, designed by Martin Marietta, weighed 51 kilograms, with a diameter of 15.2 centimeters and a length of 2.05 meters. They could reach a speed of over Mach 3 and had an anti-aircraft range of 10 kilometers and 6 kilometers for anti-tank duties. The extraordinary peculiarity of these missiles was their versatility. Thanks to their high explosive anti-tank warhead, they could be used both against heavily armored targets and aircraft. Otto Melara never built prototypes and the projects were abandoned after the refusal by the Italian army. The Draco anti-aircraft turret was developed by Otto Melara as a private project. It is a further development of the previous automatic SPAAG developed in the mid-1980s. When designed, the automatic was ahead of many anti-aircraft artillery systems of the time in terms of range and caliber of the cannon. However, it was never accepted into service. The Draco was first unveiled in 2010. Currently, this system is offered to potential customers but has not received any production orders to date. The Draco is a remote-controlled turret armed with a Cannone Ottobreda 76/62 rapid-fire naval gun. The cannon is equipped with a revolver-type automatic loading system. It can use all the NATO standard 76mm anti-aircraft ammunition types and also modern guided ammunition developed by Otto Melara. It can also use the Davide Stralis anti-missile system, the 42mm subcaliber dart anti-missile shells that can adjust their trajectory. The rate of fire is 85 rounds per minute for the compact version and 120 rounds per minute for the super rapid version, with a muzzle velocity of 1,300 meters per second. The ammunition revolver contains 12 ready rounds and can switch from one type of ammunition to another. 24 additional rounds are contained in the autoloader located in the hull. Modern SPAAGs are usually equipped with cannons with a caliber between 20 and 40 millimeters. This large caliber cannon has been selected because of its long range. In fact, it can hit targets accurately at up to 6 to 8 kilometers. The Draco can attack enemy helicopters or planes before they release their anti-tank guided weapons that normally have a range of less than 6 to 8 kilometers. But in the event of a successful missile launch, the Draco can also neutralize the missile in flight thanks to its anti-missile guided rounds. The previous automatic anti-aircraft turret system was much heavier and needed to be mated with a tank chassis. The weight of the Draco turret has been significantly reduced due to improvements in electronics over the past 20 years. It also uses a more compact onboard NA-25X radar that allows the Davide, CRAM and Dart rounds to be radio controlled. The secondary armament consists of a single 7.62mm MG3 or 12.7mm Browning M2HB coaxial machine gun. The Draco weapon system is intended to counter air targets, such as helicopter, airplanes, UAVs, and airborne weapons. It can also be used against land targets such as APCs, infantry fighting vehicles, and in some cases, MBTs, thanks to its powerful APFS-DST ammunition. This air defense weapon can be used for combat support operations, defense of supply convoys, point defense, or for coastal defense. The maximum firing range against naval or land targets is 20 kilometers. The unmanned turret can withstand 7.62 by 39mm armor-piercing bullets or artillery splinters. An additional protection kit can be installed for added protection. The Draco turret requires a crew of 2 people, commander and gunner. In case of the system being used on the B1 Centauro hull, the crew increases to 3 with the addition of a driver. The Draco turret can also be installed on 8x8 wheeled vehicles, tracked vehicles, heavy trucks, boats, or cemented-in shelters. The Draco was the first vehicle to mount the Scudo defense system. The medium armored vehicle VBM Freccia, Arrow in Italian, is an infantry fighting vehicle derived from the Centauro's hull, developed in 1996 by CIO. It is equipped with a Leonardo Finmeccanica Hitfist 25 Plus turret with a complement of net-centric systems similar to those on the B2 Centauro, like the Lothar fire control system and the Attila panoramic periscope. It is capable of carrying 3 crew members and 8 fully equipped infantrymen. There are several versions in service with the Italian army, such as the basic vehicle armed with the Oerlikon KBA B03 25/80 cannon and 1 or 2 7.62mm machine guns, an anti-tank version with the same turret but armed with 2 Spike MR/LR missiles, a command post vehicle with a taller hull but lacking a turret, armed with a remote control machine gun, a mortar carrier with a 120mm Thales 232M mortar, an ambulance version with 3 stretchers, and 1 prototype anti-tank version armed with an Otto Melara T60/70A turret, armed with a high-velocity medium-support 60-70 Otto Breda cannon and a less powerful version of the TURMS system. The Italian army owns 249 Freccias delivered between 2008 and 2017 in all versions. In 2018, another 381 Freccia VBMs were ordered by the Italian army. 261 will be the already mentioned versions, and 120 will consist of 2 new versions for reconnaissance that are currently only prototypes. These are the Freccia E1 FAR with Lyra 10 radar and 2 mini UAV launchers, and the Freccia E2 Close, equipped with a Janus full-format sensor, 1 unmanned ground vehicle, and 4 Spike anti-tank missiles. The Centauro VBM Recovery is a new armored recovery vehicle version of the Freccia infantry combat vehicle, intended to serve as an engineering vehicle and for the recovery and repair of damaged armored vehicles on the battlefield. The vehicle can be equipped with 2 7.62mm MG42/59 or MG3 machine guns for self-defense purposes. The vehicle is equipped like the VBM Freccia with NBC protection, anti-IED protection, a rear ramp, and anti-mine seats. In addition, it has a 100-meter long hydraulic winch, a hydraulic crane, anti-mine device, front blade for clearing rubble or front stabilizer, 8 80mm smoke grenades, laser alarm system, etc. The Centauro VBM recovery vehicle is powered by an Iveco 8262 6-volt turbocharger diesel engine with a nominal output of 550 horsepower. The Spanish Army is the only operator for this version, with 4 vehicles called the Vehículo Acorazado de Recuperación y Reparaciones Centauro, the Viatura Blindada Transporte de Personal Media de Rodas, or VBTP-MR Guarani, is a 6x6 armored personnel carrier developed by Iveco in collaboration with some Brazilian companies for the Brazilian Army. Its basis is a heavily modified B1 Centauro hull. Its main armament is composed of a 12.7mm machine gun or a 30mm Mark 44 Bushmaster II cannon and a remote-controlled turret. There are also proposed versions equipped with 81 and 120mm mortars, anti-tank versions with 105mm and 120mm guns, and even anti-tank versions equipped with Spike missiles. In the standard version, it can transport 8 fully equipped soldiers, the driver, the commander, and the gunner. It has a maximum road speed of 110 km per hour and can achieve 12 km per hour at sea. The Guarani is used by the Brazilian Army, which has more than 400 in service and about 1,600 more under construction. The Lebanese Army also currently has them in service, but in the future the number of operators is set to increase. The Iveco VBA Super AV is an assault amphibious vehicle developed from the VBM Freccia and the Guarani by Iveco to replace the old AAV-7A1 in service in the Italian army. It is an 8x8 amphibious vehicle with a similar hull to the VBM Freccia. In the APC version, it is armed with a 7.62mm, 12.7mm, or 40mm grenade launcher hit-fist remote-controlled turret, and can carry 12 fully equipped soldiers, plus the driver and the commander. The IFV version is armed with a 40mm Mark 44 Bushmaster 4 gun in a remote-controlled turret and can carry 8 fully equipped soldiers plus the driver, the commander, and the gunner. Its maximum speed on road is 105 km per hour, while at sea it reaches 11 km per hour. Iveco has provided for as many variants as for the VBM Freccia: a taller command post with hit-roll turret, an ambulance with 3 stretchers, a mortar carrier with a 120mm Thales 232M or TDA-2R2M mortar, and an anti-tank version with a pair of rocket launchers, for a total of 4 Spike MR-LR missiles. The Super AV is produced under license by BAE Systems under the name ACV 1.1, but with some changes, such as just 11 soldiers in the APC version and the lack of mounts for the Spike missile launch ramps on the turret in the IFV version. With the support of Iveco in 2018, the ACV 1.1 won the competition to replace the US Marines' AAV P7s. The US Marine Corps plans to build 400 ACVs by 2020 and then move on to produce an updated version called ACV 1.2, still under development. The Italian Army and Italian Navy are testing some Iveco Super AV prototypes. If they are accepted into service, they will be produced by Iveco in Italy in command post, IFV, and anti-tank version, totaling 40 vehicles, replacing the AAV-7s and Arisgator. Spain bought 84 B1 Centauro tank destroyers for the Ejército de Tierra to replace some of the older obsolete tanks then in service. The Spanish called them Reconnaissance and Cavalry Fighting Vehicles, or VRCC 105s. 22 vehicles were bought in 1999, all built in Italy and delivered between 2000 and 2001. In 2002, another 62 vehicles were ordered, delivered between 2004 and 2006, but some of the mechanical and electronic parts were made in Spain, built by the Spanish CIO consortium subsidiaries, Automelara Iberica and Iveco Pegaso, and Amper. Among these are the PR4G radio and Rovis digital intercom equipment, so as to have compatibility with other equipment in the Ejército de Tierra. In 2007, the first 22 vehicles that were bought were brought to the level of the others with the addition of the last generation thermal sleeve, the Rovis intercom system, and rearmed with 2 or 3 Rheinmetall MG3 7.62mm machine guns. In 2010, 4 Centauro VBM recovery vehicles were purchased. The Spanish version is different from the Italian one in some details. An additional spaced armor plate is present on the lower frontal hull. The 8 smoke launchers are placed on the sides of the turret, covered by 15mm spaced armor. The 7.62mm ammunition boxes for the machine guns are fixed outside the storage racks on the backs of the new supports for 2 20 or 25mm cans. Also, as already mentioned, the Spanish vehicles use Rheinmetall MG3 machine guns and not Italian Beretta MG42/59s. The 84 VRCC 105s are used in 3 different regiments: 28 at the Regimento de Cavalleria Pavia No. 4, 28 at the Regimento de Cavalleria Lusitania No. 8, and another 28 at the Regimento de Cavalleria España No. 11. They were initially delivered to the Regimento de Cavalleria Lusitania No. 8, as they are part of the Fuerza de Acción Rápida, a unit destined for rapid deployment by air. Prototypes of the LT-105 light tank, a direct-fire version of the Ascot IFV with the Hitfact 2 turret armed with the Automelara 105-52 LRF or the Automelara 120-45 LRF, were designed, produced and tested by the Spanish company Santa Barbara Sistemas. Oman has purchased a total of 9 B1 Centauros with Hitfact 1 turrets armed with 120/45mm guns. They were ordered in 2008 and received in 2 shipments of 6 and 3 vehicles that were taken over by the Royal Oman Guards and used as heavy support vehicles. Jordan has received 141 B1 Centauros decommissioned by the Italian army. 24 vehicles were donated in 2014 and 117 were bought in 2015 at a favorable price of 5.58 million euros. In November 2017, the Spanish company SDLE won the competition to modernize around 80 of these tank destroyers. The modifications will concern the modernization of the optics, thermal sleeve, and the anti-aircraft machine guns with 1 or 2 Browning M2HBs. The armor will certainly be increased with add-on kits and perhaps with reactive armor. The contract also includes maintenance of the vehicles and the training of Jordanian B1 Centauro crews. The United States government rented 16 Centauros in the year 2000 for evaluation and to gain experience for the United States Army with heavy armored cars, due to the introduction of the M1126 ICV Striker and the M1128 MGS armed with the 105mm M68A1E4 cannon. The vehicles were all returned in 2002 after the American personnel completed their training. In 2011, the Italian and Russian defense ministers signed an agreement for the transfer of a Centauro B1 Lungo, a 25mm armed VBM Freccia, a 30mm armed VBM Freccia, and a B1 Centauro with the Hitfact 1 turret armed with a 120-45 cannon. The vehicles arrived in Russia in the summer of 2012. In October, tests began and the vehicles received favorable reviews from the Russian crews, especially concerning comfort, precision on the move, low recoil, high speed, and excellent driving characteristics even at 110 km per hour. In the cold Russian winter, however, there were some problems due to the fact that the vehicles had spent almost a year in storage without moving and revisions. The spare parts that were transported in Russia were few in quantity. The Russian soldiers who operated these Italian vehicles appreciated them because their BTR-80 and BTR-82As, similar to the Freccia, are cramped and uncomfortable. In addition, their armament is similar. According to the Russians, who could not carry out destructive tests on the Centauro because the contract signed did not allow it, the vehicles were not able to resist an IED explosion. However, even in this respect, Russian soldiers preferred the Freccia and the Centauro as they have better anti-mine characteristics than their BTRs. Due to the European embargo on Russia for involvement in the war in Donbass, the Italian technicians and vehicles had to be repatriated. If the project had been completed, as in the case of the Iveco LMV, the Russians would have tested the vehicles with turrets armed with 100 and 125mm cannons of local production. In 2012, the Colombian army and government created a special commission to inspect armored vehicles for the modernization of the Ejército Nacional de Colombia. The Centauro, in all its versions, was found to be one of the favorite vehicles for its mobility characteristics that were judged adequate for the Colombian terrain. It is not yet known which vehicle will be chosen, as the commission is touring Europe, Asia, Russia, and North America, and the verdict will be issued at the end of the inspection. However, if an order does come through, it will amount to 40 armored cars and 60 tanks from different companies. In May 2001, a B1 Centauro was tested by the Ejército Brasileiro. The vehicle arrived in Brazil together with 4 technicians, 1 from Fiat, 1 from Iveco, and 2 from Otto Melara, and 3 other persons who came for the shooting tests. During the off-road driving tests, the vehicle impressed the Brazilian staff and gave great proof of itself on the rough and muddy terrain. On May 27th and 28th, the shooting tests took place in the sandbank of Marambaia, Rio de Janeiro, which also gave excellent results. While stationary, the vehicle fired at a Bernardini self-propelled anti-aircraft gun prototype on the hull of the M3 Stuart. The ammunition used was APFS-ES supplied by the Brazilian Army and from a 1973 British lot. Of the various rounds fired, all worked very well, hitting the target at a distance of 1,520 meters. Subsequently, the B1 Centauro made shots on the move, targeting a German Marder tested some years ago by the Brazilian Army. Several shots were fired from distances between 1,000 and 2,000 meters, all hitting the target. The Brazilian Army did not purchase any vehicles, but tests showed the obsolescence of some Brazilian vehicles, such as the EE9 Cascavel. In its career, the B1 Centauro has proven to be a robust vehicle, fast and appreciated by the crews and soldiers who operate it. It has also proven to be a very adaptable platform with several different versions and variants spawning from it. It has even been an export success, albeit moderate, with the B1 Centauro seeing service in other armies around the globe. For now, the Italian army is not scheduled to phase out their remaining 259 B1 Centauros. In the coming years, they will be joined by the B2 Centauros in the cavalry divisions for reconnaissance and support missions in Lebanon, where the Italian cavalry divisions are called to intervene.